Welcome back to NewsWire. Mike Blewitt sitting in for Craig Mish this afternoon on NewsWire. Welcoming in Pat Evans from the Legal Sports Report. Pat, good to see you as always. You find him on x.com at Pat Evans. We'll go over a few stories here that impact the world of sports betting. And we'll start in D.C. Obviously, we are close to the goal line. We're probably at the goal line on this, but we still have to wait some official budget approval for mobile betting expansion within D.C., correct?
Yeah, so it was expected to happen yesterday, but the mayor has yet to sign the budget. So that deadline's July 25th. So we might be waiting another week or so. But the industry generally expected it yesterday. And, you know, Washington's a really interesting market when you get right down to it. It's been kind of the poster child of kind of the failings or the short-sightedness, or however you want to put it, of lottery monopolies on a sports betting market. For a long time, they had an intralot sports betting app that was district-wide, but internal sports teams could partner with other sports books. So you saw like Caesars partner with the Capitals and BetMGM go with the Nationals, and they're able to operate in-person sports books and then a two-block kind of radius, and those were outperforming the lottery partner. And so that was kind of something we looked at across the nation when we saw other markets doing lottery monopolies of sports betting. Then FanDuel came in and replaced the lottery partner. They've been performing well, but now we've got this new law that's going to open it up to the team partners. And so, you know, it's going to be a very competitive market now, I would assume, even though FanDuel has got a little bit of a head start. Just a really unique market, and it's going to be really fun to watch, even though it is such a small little pocket of people. Just a fun kind of experiment to see how it goes from a district-wide monopoly to now a competitive market.
Yeah, and it's a massive center of commuters, right? Virginia and Maryland residents commuting into D.C. to work previously would have to leave in order to make their bet. So, as Pat said, there was a funky situation where we had brick and mortar sports books that allowed you a 2-block radius from Nationals Park and where the Capitals play in order to be able to bet. Now this will expand. It seems like it's just a matter of days here, maybe even hours, and we'll get there. And not only will it be FanDuel, BetMGM, and Caesars, but it seems like the market could get flooded with additional operators in the future months.
Yeah, I mean, the Redskins are able to, not the Redskins. Wow, that's a throwback to old times there. The Commanders could partner with somebody, and so there's lots of options kind of in there to gain with. I don't think it'll be a huge market because I think that you have to partner with the team. So I think, though, I guess the Mystics and the what's the other team? I'm blanking. There could be a couple more added for sure in the market.
Great. So a lot to focus on with D.C. You mentioned before off air some additional legislation in Missouri potentially breaking as well. Is that correct?
Well, so there's a ballot petition that has been turned in May, and we're in the process of waiting for those signatures to be validated. They're at the local election offices being kind of sorted out. There's 340,000 signatures that were turned in, and it only needs about 170,000 valid signatures. So they felt confident enough in those numbers that when they turned it in early. And so now we're waiting on those. Before that is approved in July 30th is when the deadline is to go on the November 5th ballot. We got a update from the committee. They've kind of halted their fundraising, I think probably to wait to see if it's on the ballot or not. But up to this point, they've raised $6.5 million from FanDuel and DraftKings. That was largely used for the the signature collection. I assume once we get to the part where it's confirmed for the November ballot, we're going to see more funds coming in from DraftKings and FanDuel, maybe some additional operators to get kind of the word out to vote for it. Polls are kind of split right now. It looks like every time we see a new poll from Missouri, it's pretty even, which isn't totally a surprise. But it's been a long process in Missouri. We've had multiple legislative efforts fall short because of a roadblock in the Senate. And that didn't change this year. The House, which had previously passed it 2 sessions, said we're not even going to bother to pass it over to the Senate because it's not going to go anywhere. But it does set up a very similar framework to the legislation if voters decide to approve it. It'd be, online and in-person sports books for 13 casinos and the 6 sports teams, and 2 additional standalone online sportsbook operators that the State Gambling Commission could award. So it'd be a nice, robust market. Certainly something that has been in the works a long time, and we're just waiting to see official confirmation that it's on the November ballot.
And known as a huge sports state as well, not just professional, but college sports as well. So it would be a fascinating market. Let's talk about Minnesota now, because this is a little bit more complex. It seemed like there was momentum, and then there were a group of legislators that were prepared to and successfully spiked it for the 2024 calendar year. So their congressional session is over for the year, and it looks like they'll have to come back in 2025 in order to try this again.
Yeah, I'm working up a story right now, talking to different stakeholders and politicians that have been, leading this charge the past couple of years, kind of a similar situation as Missouri, that there's been a lot of hope, a lot of work toward the end goal of legalization, but it's just fallen short repeatedly year after year. And this year we came into it saying, wow, this is the one state that can probably get it done at this session. Well, sure enough, as politics is not simple. I think we've learned that in the past couple of years, or decades. But
days,
yeah,
last few days.
Well, that too. It looked almost like a shoo-in to get things going and pass, but it just everything just kind of fell apart. One thing happened, and dominoes kept falling. Last day of the session, they were a group of supporters said, we've got a deal, but we don't think we're going to get a vote on it. And so that's, I think, something a lot of people say, just maybe keep hopes alive that, maybe they get some extra votes in the election year or whatever. But as it comes out now, it seems like it was less likely that there was a deal, and it was just posturing from all the stakeholders saying, we did it, but we didn't get the vote. And now heading into 2025, you're looking at a whole new House. It could switch parties again. You're looking at these kind of opponents that kind of stood up and said, no, this isn't going to get done. There's a chance that 2025 is less likely than it was this year, despite that comment on the last day from stakeholders saying, yeah, we got it done. Maybe this will be great for next year, but it almost looks like it might be less likely to pass next year.
It's a good reminder that regardless of whatever your perception, you, myself, anybody watching or listening, whatever your perception of a particular state's political leanings are, these bills do need bipartisan support on some level. And that's not always it's never an easy thing to arrive on. And perhaps certain states it's been far easier than others, but clearly Minnesota, you would have thought, a little bit more socially liberal. This should be a slam dunk. But the sports books need people on their side in order willing to push the legislation through, especially considering that there's so many other things on their plate. It just may not be a high priority. Is that fair to say, Pat?
That's very high. That happened 2 years ago. The Democratic Party, which has control, said, we've got all these things that are a slam dunk. We're going to take them ahead, and they left sports betting behind. And so that exemplifies what you just said.
Good stuff, as always, from Pat Evans from Legal Sports Report.